Hello, it's Libby from maighstirtarot. I'd like to acknowledge the War of my First Nations people and thank you for joining me. I actually have a legitimate reason for being tired. I had my niece and her husband and their two little kids with us for a couple of days. That's why I wasn't on yesterday, so I do apologise for that. And yes, yesterday was a huge day of cafes and ice cream parlours and walking tours and playgrounds and oh gosh, talk about being tired, but it was absolutely worth it. Fabulous visit. They've come all the way from the UK, so on their way to visit our other family while they're down this end of the world in the Antipodeans. Okay, so what do I want to have a look at in this particular reading? Well, okay, my guides are still yammering about the turnpike, so I'm keeping an eye on the turnpike. The reason being is that it can take quite a while sometimes, or at least a couple of weeks, for things to come to fruition. Uh, for example, with the Kushinvanki and the island off Albania, I read on that, 12, 18, 24 months ago. I have posted it in my post section several days ago, but if you put Ivanka in your search option, you'll find it. And only now, what I read on all that time ago is actually starting to come to fruition. So we'll just keep an eye on that. Booed resoundingly, messed up watch parties for thousands of people. And Go Mamdami, who paid his own way to attend in the standing room only, stood for 3 hours. And he's just such an inspiration. And apparently, as I was reading, apparently the crime rate in New York is down to historic lows. The reason being is his government is actually tackling the root cause issues of crime rather than just punishing the crime itself. So good on Mamdami. But what I want to have a look at, so resoundingly booed, fell asleep, left during the second half, helicoptered in and out, apparently cost about $10 million for him to do so. But what's really caught my attention is who was in the box with him. Now, I had a look. There was Kai Kushner, the son, I believe, of Jared and Vanki, who has his own Instagram page and all the rest of it. Sean Duffy, Secretary of Transport, Burgum and Zeldin, just cabinet members, etc. But what really caught my attention was in the box with him was a guy by the name of Boris Epstein. Ooh! So, spelled Epsteyn. Now, apparently, he's an advisor to the Orange Felon. He was an advisor during the first regime. Apparently, according to his Wikipedia page, he, excuse me, got a bit of a head cold because hubby brought it back from his 3 weeks of intensive work over in Europe on the petri dish of the long haul flights. But he was born in Moscow in the Soviet Union. His family are Russian Jews, but apparently he's, pretty much pro-Zionist, anti-Jew. So however that works, I have no vested interest in either way, except that they're using, again, it's like certain factions of any religion. They're using the religion as a for political reasons. Okay, so his family immigrated, refugees, to the US when he was 11 years old, and his finishing education was in the US. Now, apparently, he was an advisor to the Orange Felon during his first regime. He was the one that organised the inauguration party in that first regime, etc. And there's a whole lot on his Wikipedia page in regards to who this person is, Boris Epstein. He wrote the felon's controversial statement for the Holocaust Remembrance Day, which omitted any mention of the Jewish people. So um, it was he's just a bit of a piece of work. But what I want to have a look at is this Epstein Dude, okay, so he was on the Jewish Voices for Trump advisory board that uh, back in for the 2020 re-election that led to a high Jewish support, etc. But in April 2024, he was indicted in Arizona for his role in the fake elector plot, but he's back on the scene. And I just want to have a look at this guy because if you're putting two and two together, pretty sure he is a Rusky plant, and he's there trying to influence, is what my guides have been telling me. Now, the reason why I want to have a look at this, a couple of things have happened. There's been another Rusky general that has what was his name? Damir Davidov headed Russia's missile forces, apparently unalived in a car, boom boom today. What else do we know? Exploded basically as the driver pulled out of the parking space. So foot off the brake, foot onto the accelerator, and it went boom, boom on him. But what's also happening is that if I nick over here and have a look, we've got a Russian politician, a deputy of the St. Petersburg Legislative Assembly, Viktor Petrov, is calling on support for the use of nuke weapons against Ukraine in order to force it to capitulate. So the Ruskies know that the war is going very badly. Apparently, the end of his speech is unknown because his microphone is turned off. So this is very telling, a desperate statement from a Rusky deputy calling for nuke strikes, but they went, oh, hang on, don't let that cat out of the bag. So I'm just going to have a look at a bit of a double look here. So going to have a look at, first of all, a look at Boris Epstein, Epsteyn. Interesting surname, given everything that's happening at the moment. Why is he back in the orange idiot's ear? Entertainment only, using the Tarot Grand Lux. Why is Boris Epstein back in close quarters with the orange idiot? Now, we know in regards to is not real and what's happening in Persia, the orange idiot, he was done and dusted with that conflict in the first week. Very much shades of, we'll take Kiev in 3 days and then where are we 4.5 years later? Very much shades of that. Thought that Persia would capitulate within after the first strike. It hasn't. Wants to pull out, except that you've got the is not real someone there shaking the, we've got the documents, we've got the videos, etc. But why is Boris Epstein or Epstein back in the picture? Come on down. Okay. The Two of Wands. Keeping an eye over the situation. Keeping him on track. Okay. You've got the gate here opening. Basically, this is the way you will go. So I'm getting keeping him on track. Now, because I'm so tired and because I've got this head cold, I am fully open to my guides. I've left my bracelets up on the shelf there, but I'm feeling good. So we'll see how we go. But yeah, Two of Wands on the world stage. Keep it saying, these gates opening. This is the way you will go. Okay, so why is Epstein back on the scenes? We've got the World card as the challenge card here, the end of an era, something on the world stage. Now, you've got Shady being over in the UK, blaming my immigration for the unaliving of a youth, not the one that happened in Belfast, but the one that happened in, I think it was England. Um, the guy was, both were British citizens. It wasn't immigration, but there's just this end of an era on the world stage here. Okay. World card. End of an era on the world stage. Trying to keep the orange felon on the straight and narrow as this crumbling is happening. Okay, let's see where it goes. You got the Ten of Pentacles, the end of the oligarchical influence perhaps, or putting money into the felon. Now the reason why I'm saying that is not only are they selling the seats for the cage fight for millions of dollars, and I bet you that money's not going into the treasury. You've now got Sniffy Jr. selling cage fight coins, gold coins, for vast amounts of money, more than they're worth in their meltdown value. And you're pretty sure that's not going in the treasury either. But yeah, 10 of putting more coin in the jar here. But it's an ending card. In the past, we've got the Sun, full exposure, finding himself fully exposed, naively exposed. Okay, let's see where this goes. Crowning the reading, the High Priestess, the hidden agendas. Oh, I just want to mention, if you have a look at the felon's schedule, nothing on today except for, I think it's Homan doing a speech. Nothing on tomorrow except signing into law the 70 billion, is it $70 billion ICE funding that passed the House. That's all he's got on tomorrow. So they trot him out for half an hour to an hour at the most, and that's about all he can manage. And that's every 2, 3, 4, 7 days, getting less and less that he's being seen. But the High Priestess, a hidden agenda here. Why was he there? The Five of Swords. The abuse of power, the deceit, the betrayal, the lies, but holding the felon at sword point is what I'm getting out of that. Holding him at sword point as he is collapsing to keep him on the straight and narrow, because I think he must have blurted something, not necessarily public, but he's being exposed, very much exposed, and he's doing the exposing. So this is a hidden agenda to keep him on track, they're sort of like saying, the guys to me, like on piste, but it's because piste is when you go, I think isn't that when you go off the tracks on the snow? They call it off piste. They're trying to keep him on piste because he's going off the narrative. So Five of Swords, literally at sword point as he's going down. As he's going down, the Tower card. The complete collapse. And then the Ace of Swords. The truth coming out, the collapse, and the actual full truth starting to come out. I've always seen that the information won't be revealed until not necessarily he's passed, but when he's down for the count. Okay, let's see where this goes. Hopes and fears, the devil, keeping him chained to this devil energy. So Boris Epstein, he's there to make sure that the orange idiot doesn't, I'm just getting step out of bounds in regards to the Rusky connections, the Rusky involvement. But it is going to come out when he goes down, because there's the Wheel of Fortune. What have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 major arcana. Big energy here. Big energy. Ending. Hidden agendas. Devil, keeping him tied to the devil. Because we've got the Wheel, and then we've got the Seven of Swords, the lie, the steal, the betrayal, the deception. by the Emperor. Okay, the Emperor and then the Fool. Oops, there's Spotty having a cuddle. That's why I was late on today. I was waiting for the vet. The vet was coming for a home visit for a proof of life for Spotty, because he's 10 months, 11 months into a 6-week cancer diagnosis. But we've got the Fool here. Foolishness, off the cliff, uncharted waters. And the Moon, secrets being revealed, revealing secrets. Okay, so what I'm getting here is the reason Boris is here is to keep tabs and to keep control over the orange idiot so that he doesn't blurt out the lies, the deceit, the deception, but I don't know if he's going to be able to control him completely. The hidden agenda, but it's all coming down as we're watching this collapse. I don't think he's going to be successful. So, okay. So he's here to keep, yes, hello, my little man. Yes. He's here to keep the secrets, to ensure that the secrets are kept. Now, what sort of secrets? So we've got a combination of things happening. You've got Boris Epstein, one of the, I'm getting the word keepers. I know the word I'm probably after is handlers, but I'm getting the word keepers. One of the keepers of the orange felon is here, in his ear, by his side, again, was here during the 16 and 20, and then sort of dropped out of the limelight for a while, but he's back again. Keeping very close tabs on him so that he doesn't. I'm getting bribing with money, but there's also threat there as well. Making sure he stays on the path that he's meant to be on. Okay, but at the same time has happened is we've got this, he's bringing forward a rather unpleasant, potentially, message for the orange idiot that plays on his emotions. I did read forever ago that the orange idiot would have an emotional outburst, like a really big emotional outburst, very publicly. Well, that's what he did the other day with the interview where he, I wouldn't say stormed out, he shuffled out hunched over in a huff, but playing on the emotions here. Then I've got the Page of Swords, which is about, we've got truth that we can bring forward, and then we've got on the defensive, and then we've got the Ace of Cups, trying to push back on any messaging that might come out, but we've got this emotional overwhelming, this emotional explosion that brings the end. So I think he's here to stop the orange idiot blurting something out or saying something that the Ruskies do not want out there. But I don't think they're going to achieve, because I think he's going to actually just come out with it publicly. Might be part of why they're not actually having him public at the moment. As I said, the only thing on his schedule where he's actually got the press in front of him, and even then it's the vetted White House press, is to sign the ICE funding into law, and that's it. That's the only thing since he had his Wisconsin. Was it Wisconsin the other day? Wisconsin next, this signing. That's it. And prior to that was the cabinet meeting. Okay, but what I want to have a look at, so that's why Boris Epstein's here. I want to have a look at Damir Davidov. Damir Davidov. He was a senior Rusky defence official. He was just outside Mossy Cow. Let's have a look. I'm just reading the article. The Rusky Federal Investigative Committee confirmed the boom boom had taken place but did not name the victim. A criminal case has been opened but just did not disclose the charge. Several Telegram channels reported that the victim was Damir Davidoff, the head of the main missile and artillery directive. Ooh, interesting that. The main missile and artillery directive, when you've got another Rusky official, senior official coming on and saying, we need to do the nuclear option. Okay, so let's have a look. Let's have a look before his microphone was cut off. So Damir Davidoff, why was he? Because it feels insider. Okay, you want those. Okay, come on down, let's have a look. Why was Damir Davidoff? Because judgment. He was being vocally outspoken against whatever was being plotted. He, 2 10s, it's a 20, the card's 20, but it's 2 10s. You've got the judgment card, you've got the doves of peace rising up here. I think he was probably advocating for a ceasefire, peace agreement. This has gone on long enough. But interestingly, he's the missile dude. The challenge was the Six of Cups. But this comes up a lot when I'm talking about what's happening in Rusky at the moment. It was this wanting to go back to what was 5, 6, 7 years ago. 6 years ago, Six of Cups. When, Mossy Cow was thriving, the elite or those that had a bit of money had the access to purchase Western luxury products, etc. The economy was doing well. There was enough food. Yeah, there was this lamenting for what was. Okay, the energy he was in was the Eight of Swords. They had air sign communications or talking. It was to restrict. It was to stop him from putting his message out there. I suspect we've got Mother Russia here with the Empress in the past. Crowning the reading, we've got the Three of Pentacles. This figure here is working alone. Got a plan here, working alone, carving something out. The Two of Swords in the immediate future. The veil lifting on the truth in regards to, and there's the Sun. In the external, the Sun is about something being fully revealed. Here can see through the veil of truth is being lifted. But the Sun can also mean, because this is also options, 2 options that can be taken, air energy, what travels in the air, and that can be externally. We know what the Sun is. The Sun is an ongoing nuclear reaction. Internally, the Knight of Cups, the Trojan horse, or actually what I'm getting here from this one, my guys just said an honourable knight putting forward an offer. Okay. Hopes and fears, the Hierophant, the higher authorities, the outcome, the Ten of Cups, the Knight of Wands, volatile information coming forward, and the Page of Wands. This is about families, it's about comfort, the Ten of Cups, if you have a look at the image here, very much reminiscent of that Six of Cups there as well, about protecting what is most important. The Knight of Wands, the messaging that he was bringing forward, volatile messaging, and then the Page of Wands, to reduce it through Five of Wands, a conflict moment. The Six of Swords, wanting to move forward, the Lover's card, agreements, and the Ace of Swords. Was he plotting a coup? He might have been. Because this conflict can mean this new messaging that's coming out, volatile messaging, new messaging that's coming out that will give rise to conflict. The Lovers, agreements, and the Ace of Swords. New truth, new beginning, new logic coming forward. So I think what's happened is that he was becoming vocal against the Kremlin and they had to remove him. What do we got? Yeah, the Six of Cups, and then we've got the Ten of Wands. He went too far and was taken down in his messaging. Be interested if anyone has an insider on that. So let's have a look. So how are these two things tied? That Boris Epstein was back visiting the Orange Idiot. Let me just get the names right. Boris Epstein's back visiting. You've got Damir Davidov, was the guy with the, in charge of the missiles, was, and as I'm talking, I've got again that Two of Wands, keeping the messaging on track that comes from the higher authorities, the Hierophant. So how are these things connected? You've got a Rusky politician, very publicly, Viktor Petrov, calling for the use of nukes against Ukraine. You've got the Damir Davidov, the guy that it appears he's the missile guy, so he would be the guy in charge of the nukes. And then you've got Boris Epstein next to making himself very cozy with the Orange Idiot and the regime in the US. How are these things connected? Because it just seems all a little bit too convenient. How are these things connected? How are these things connected? How are these things connected? Oh, you want that left on the bottom? Okay. Come on down. King of Swords, strategy, an action being taken. Not necessarily, they don't necessarily want the truth of it getting out there. The Page of Swords, Nine of Cups, be careful what you wish for. The Truth Bringer with the Page of Swords. The Nine of Cups can be, the smug merchant wish fulfillment, or the cups all lined up in a row and thinking everything's going to be hunky-dory. And then the Nine of Coins. So we've got two nines here, nines being the step just before the ending, before the 10. How are they connected? So a strategy that they're trying to keep under wraps, which is a step just before. Four of Coins Again, trying to keep something under wraps, the Sun card and the Page of Cups. How are they all connected? An unpleasant message coming forward with the Page of Cups, an emotive message coming out of left field. Trying to keep something under wraps and secretive with that Four of Coins about a Sun moment that was a new, highly emotive, out of left field message. Got the oh, look at these pages. It's all new. Page of Pentacles, the Six of Wands. So again, information, trying to reduce, trying to keep it under cover, trying to move out of troubled waters, and the Eight of Cups walking away. How are they connected? Queen of Swords, my Harris card, and Temperance. And the Nine of Swords, nightmare situation, on the back foot, defensive, and the Tower. And the Hanged Man. And the guy working on this. So this is Damir was sacrificed here. He was working on something behind the scenes. He had a plan that he was bringing to fruition. But this nightmare situation, trying to defend, trying to push back this tower that cannot be pushed back. The ending is coming. 3 pages which are about new messaging coming out. And the spilt cups and being forced to walk away. Got the King of Coins. And then the Ten of Cups again. And some sort of information coming out of the White House. Okay, we've got the Nine of Wands, the Ten of Wands, the King of Wands, the Six of Wands, the Knight of Wands, and the World card, and the Chariot, and the Steel. The stealing of the truth. Chariot, military perhaps, or just moving on. The World card. I'm just having a think about this. It's they are connected, and it's to keep under wraps what is actually going on, because this guy, Damir, he was done. He was going to release information. I think he had said, no, we're not doing that. You've got Boris keeping the regime in the US under check. And then you've got Petrov, I think it was Petrov, talking about the nuke option but getting his microphone cut off. I think you guys can connect the dots for yourself. Okay. Okay, my guides are telling me to stop there. I know I've been vague, but I think you guys can connect the dots yourself about why these 3 things are happening. The 3-day take Kiev that has turned into nearly 4.5 years. The Ruski economy's in the toilet. They had their big summity thing in St. Petersburg, and the Ukrainian drones were having a bit of a free-for-all in the area. I'm just going to ask. I'm going to ask, grab my yes-no cards. Because I keep getting this explosion in a silo. And I've got yes as I split the deck. And on the bottom was the blank card. Are the Ruskies seriously thinking? Is the Kremlin seriously thinking about a nuke option? I keep getting our off-planet friends will prevent it from happening, and yes, 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 yes. So yeah, the three cards on the bottom, yes, yes, and yes. It's not will. Okay, gonna leave it there. I keep getting this explosion in a silo, and then it's the world just sort of rocks back and says, "My goodness, enough," and it sort of brings everything to an end. So yeah, okay. I think that's why Boris is there with the regime. I think that's why this general was taken out. And yeah, Petrov started to voice it. Do not be surprised if Petrov, what's his name? Viktor Petrov, the deputy of the St. Petersburg Legislative Assembly, do not be surprised if he falls out of a window, because he dared to voice before his microphone was cut off. Okay, I might have a look to see whether he's still going, and I shall catch you shortly. Deep breaths. As I said, spent yesterday with family. It was fabulous. The birds are going nuts outside the window. The sun is shining. There are so many things to be grateful for. So this is very much about just being aware and being flexible. A lot of you ask me, what do we do? Be flexible. For whatever comes, be flexible. Okay, love to yourself. Bye-bye.